It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're going for our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders, and the days and weeks are just flying by because it is once again Friday. We're previewing and predicting the Steelers matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals, which means we got to bring DB, Derrick Bell, back into the fold once again. How are we doing, DB?
Doing fantastic, man. It is going to be a little revenge game for the Steelers, losing to the Bengals. So this is going to be a pretty – I mean, I don't want to say it's like a must-win, but this is one that they definitely have to have, especially given the circumstances. I mean, no Joe Burrow, no Trey Hendrickson again. I mean, you can't get swept by the Bengals with those circumstances. So, yeah.
Yes. So you don't have to say it. I will say it's a must-win for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. I can't believe it's already week 11. Man, once the football season hits, I feel like the rest of the calendar just flies by. Alan, how we doing?
I don't think you can have a must-win when you're in first place in the division in week 11. And yet, it does sort of feel that way.
I'm there.
I'll say this. I think if they don't win this game, it is going to be very difficult to win the division. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it would be very difficult to win the division if they lose this week.
And I'm telling you, I'm looking at those wild cards right now. I think the AFC North only ends up with one playoff team. So I don't know. I think that this is as must win as it could be in week 11 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get into the preview and prediction stuff, as we always do on a Friday, we go through the injury report. Alan, we've been monitoring this Alex Highsmith thing all week. Once again, didn't do anything on Friday. DNP, which means he is out for Sunday's contest with that pec injury that seemingly popped up out of nowhere this week. Gonna miss this one. We talked about, obviously, Nick Herbig stepping in and feeling good about that, but you don't want to be without a guy that has back-to-back multi-sack games in the form of Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. It's not good because Highsmith himself is very good. It's also not good because I think it just makes your three edge rusher package that I think, like this would be a game that you could feel like you could use it a lot. It makes it a lot worse. And I think that's the real part of it that I think, not that like Jack Sawyer's been bad, but like he's just clearly not on the same level as any of those other three guys. And I think that's probably the most disappointing part of it from the Steelers' defensive perspective. But it's not like Nick Herbig can't do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. No Darius Slay with a concussion. Cole Holcomb's still not back. Well, practicing, but out for this one. Did some stuff throughout the week, so we'll see when he'll be back. I'm confused about Corey Trice being listed as questionable and not just out, Alan.
Corey Trice is not playing this week. The questionable is whether or not he will be activated from the injured reserve. That is all.
Okay. Gotcha. And then Isaac Seumalo, questionable after getting back in there. Once again, back out today. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, when I walked out to practice and saw Isaac Seumalo in sweats, I was like, well, that's that. I was a little surprised to see him listed as questionable. He did play with just one limited practice 2 weeks ago. He also couldn't finish that game. So, I don't know. The Bengals' defensive line is awful. Not only no Trey Hendrickson, no Shamar Stewart either. If you can't block those guys without Isaac Seumalo, I don't really see what the point is of sending out your half-healthy veteran offensive lineman.
I should have thrown it to DB when we were talking about the Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig thing as everybody is a big fan of Nick Herbig. However, I think DB sits atop the throne of the Nick Herbig fan club. I should have thrown it to him to get his perspective on no Alex Highsmith in this one and feel good about Nick Herbig obviously taking on an elevated role. We've seen him do in the past, but kind of what the trickle-down effect is still when you don't have Alex Highsmith in the fold as well.
Yeah, Alan made a good point just with you would like to have all of your best pass rushers on the field against this offense that's going to, try to spread you out and shred it through the air. So that really sucks. I mean, I'm definitely a proponent for getting 51 on the field more, but I don't want it to be at the expense of like other guys' injuries for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think that he's going to probably have a good amount of success against Orlando Brown. Like him and Highsmith both have had really good showings against him in the past. And, when Herbig started, I mean, we read the numbers off. I think the last time Highsmith was hurt a couple weeks ago, like when Herbig started, like good things have really happened. It's not just in the form of like sacks, but it's also, forcing turnovers, strip sacks, things of that nature. And that's kind of like what the Steelers defense kind of like lives and dies on, like the pass rush and like being able to create chaos that turns into turnovers. So having him out there is probably it's going to be a good omen if that's, the main goal and the main way that you're going to be able to win this game.
I'm not saying DB might have. I mean, maybe he didn't. I have an inkling that he might have just tipped off one of his bold predictions. I don't know. The way he was talking about that kind of made me feel that way, but maybe not.
No,
we'll get there
when
we get there. All right. Well, let's talk about the Steelers defense since we're talking about that going against the Cincinnati offense. Yeah, that was a thing that happened on Thursday Night Football just about a month ago, where the Cincinnati offense did whatever they wanted, not just through the air, but also on the ground, which is uncharacteristic for them if you look at their numbers throughout the entire season. So, I mean, is it even worth having a conversation and forming it in terms of shutting it down, or is it more just about limiting them? Should we expect that they're going to try to do something completely different this time around defensively? DB, I'll start with you for this.
I'll be really interested just to see what the game plan is. I would anticipate that it's probably going to be their normal approach of like a lot of single high, try to stop the run and get them into like third and long situations and try to see if they've got the guys to man up. I don't know how that's going to work. It worked really terribly last time they tried that, but I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking that the rushing attack for the Bengals, it shouldn't be something that like is a huge issue. But I mean, we thought that was going to be the case coming into the first matchup too, and it still ended up unfolding that way. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I still have faith that they'll bounce back in that regard. I'm just a lot less sure about how the secondary is going to perform against those wideouts.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the running success in that game, it was like 3 plays. It was like 3/4 of the yards. And like, not to say that's okay, but like, I don't think it should be a focus or even really a concern at this point. Like, if that's how the Bengals beat you, that's how the Bengals beat you, like, whatever. The other guys are far more significant part of the equation. And I think, like, could you have imagined at the start of the year, like, going into a game and it's like, okay, James Pierre against Jamar Chase, that's the plan. I think he's played really well so far, but like, I don't know how this is going to go.
Is it going to be any worse though? I guess is my question. Than it really
can always be
right?
worse.
Like, I mean,
it can always be worse. However bad it is, there is like always an entire universe of worse that is out there lurking, waiting.
I just feel like, not that it's going to be great, but I feel like they've found what they have to do defensively, personnel-wise, with Ramsey and Duggar on the back end, with Eccles in the slot. And I would, at this point, I have a hard time saying I'd rather see Darius Slay than James Pierre out there. So I'm willing to roll the dice and say it's not going to be as bad as it was the first matchup.
Yeah, I mean,
very similarly to Highsmith and Herbig, I think you would like to be able to have both options because I think they kind of are very different guys, like sort of stylistically. And if one thing isn't working, like you don't really have a plan B when you've got to put Porter and Pierre out there. They only have so many ways that they can cover. So I do think they're pretty limited, but like I can't disagree. I think he's played well.
The other thing that I would note about like a couple of those explosive runs in the first matchup. The first one was Chuck Clark is in the A gap and has Brown dead to rights, and then they also miss a tackle in the secondary. I can't remember if it was Elliott or one of the corners, and then on the second one. Later in the game, Patrick Queen misses a tackle, and then he bounces it outside and gets like 12, 13 yards. So some of that is just, them being in the right spots. And I think the first explosive, if I remember correctly, I think whoever's on the interior, I think it might be Benton. I think he gets held personally. So
that was one of the later ones. Yeah, Benton got tackled.
yeah, so that's not really something that I'm necessarily worried about. The cornerback situation is just really tough because, with Flacco, one of the things we talked about in the first matchup is he's gonna matchup hunt, and he's talked about the fact that he's seen some coverages and a lot of brackets and stuff for their star receivers, and he's still force feeding them targets. So where the ball is going to end up in this offense more than anything else. The thing that just makes it tough is if you're going to play single high. And a guy like Pierre, who likes to play at the line of scrimmage, preferably kind of similar to Porter, is that you're gonna be susceptible to them taking fade shots over the top, and you may just have to live with this. I mean, it's probably better in some ways, maybe to live with trying to pressure Flacco into making that some of those 50-50 ball shots down the sideline rather than just letting him cook you over the middle slants just over and over and over. I definitely think that they need to tone down the blitz rate in this one and try to give some of those guys some help on the inside. That would definitely be something that I would do. But the other thing that I would say about Cincinnati, and this is probably Flacco's influence more than anything else, but they had a really good beat on the Steelers' tendencies on what they like to do, on early downs, especially in base. Empty checks and things like that. So you're going to have to throw a curveball in there too. And, we'll see if they have that in their repertoire. But yeah, I agree. Pierre has played excellent. And, I think that he deserves to play. Even if Slay was healthy, I think he should have, Pierre should start. And even if they were going to elevate Asante Samuel, I think that those guys should be at worst, splitting reps. Cause Pierre's played extremely well when he's been in there. It's difficult because it's Jamar Chase. It's probably the best or second best receiver in the league, and you're probably going to have to go up against that guy man coverage 15, 20 times in this game.
Alan, based off the name that was just thrown out there, any type of read now that we are at Friday, if we would see any practice squad elevations with those two notable ones at the top of the practice squad there?
Well, I would expect with Highsmith out that you're going to see DeMarvin Leal elevated. And with Holcomb out again, I would expect Mark Robinson to be elevated. I think those will be the two.
Okay, so not talking about Asante Samuel or MVS there. That being the case,
I don't know. I think there's a chance that they could bring Samuel up because there's ways that you can have three. You can promote someone to the 53-man roster. I don't expect to see MVS. They will be pretty short on DBs if they.
I was about to say if they don't elevate Samuel or MVS, I guess the backup plan would be if someone gets hurt, Ramsey comes down and plays plays corner, back. And then you have to play somebody else at safety, Peppers or somebody.
Yeah, Ramsey goes back, and then you're playing Clark or Peppers at safety.
Yeah, that would be. I would not go into a Bengals game playing 11 personnel against those receivers with three legit healthy corners, one of which is again, Pierre's played really well, but he's mostly a special teamer. So, and the other thing about their cornerback situation this year is I know Porter missed a couple times, but he's also been down on the turf multiple times in pretty much every game that he's played. Slay's been like that too. So it's just one of those things where you may have to have
about the injury, but I swear to God, Slay at some point has actually been every single game. I think
both of them. Yeah, Slay's definitely been more, but it's just both those guys end up they're down for at least a play or two here and there. And that's just what I'm saying is who you'd have to shuffle guys around, and so yeah, that I would definitely. I mean, like I said, the Samuel thing, I understand. If he's still probably working himself back into game shape, you probably can't go out there and definitely not expect him to go out there and start or play a ton of snaps. But kind of what you were alluding to, Alan, is you can rotate those guys in if you would need to and kind of, just see the flow of the game. I mean, there's a very real chance. I mean, Chase has cooked Pierre years ago when they matched up against one another. I mean, there's a chance that Chase dusts him for two explosive plays on the first drive, and you just have to completely scrap it and just say this is not the game for him. It would be nice to have a different pitch to go to. And I'm not saying Samuel's going to be able to lock him up either, but you want to leave yourself with options for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would, it's possible that he's going to dress. I don't think they're going to play him very much if he does, but we'll see.
All right. Well, let's flip the script and talk about the Steelers offense looking to get back on track in this one after that disaster that was Sunday Night Football against the Chargers. It did have a bunch of success offensively the last time that they met up with this team. And the little that this team does have defensively, they won't have at their disposal in this game with still no Trey Hendrickson. So not only do the Steelers avoid Joe Burrow in both matchups, they also avoid a guy that's been healthy throughout his entire career, really, and Trey Hendrickson in both matchups as well. And then you mentioned Alan Shamar Stewart not being available to them in this one as well. And I'll even throw Samaje Perine in there, a guy that scored 2 touchdowns against the Steelers a couple years ago when they came to Acrisure Stadium and seems to maybe have had their number a little bit in the past offensively. But the Bengals defense here, Steelers offense, DB, when you look at this, is this a game where maybe the Steelers offense could get back on track? And if they can't, what's that panic meter going to be at?
If they can't get it on track against like a historically bad defense, I'm full on panic meter. Like I'm ready to hit the red button, and the red button would be for me. Like I'm going to start joining the rest of like the Yins fan base and calling for we've been done that, but I'm talking about I'm calling for Will Howard. If they can't get it done this week against this version of the Bengals, man, like come on, we gotta be serious here. So yeah, I mean, but the offense, I mean, they've won 2 of their last 3, but the offense has not played well. In particular, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played well. You look at it since like week 8. I mean, Rodgers is 31st in success rate, 28th in EPA per dropback. It's not good, but obviously he had the best game of his season going up against the Bengals in that shootout with him and Flacco, whatever that was, week 7 or whatever. So this is the Bengals defense is like mouthwash for pretty much every quarterback in the NFL has had their best game of the season this year against them. They're dead last in EPA per play, dead last in points allowed per drive, dead last in success rate. They have one good player on defense. And he's going to be on the sidelines. So, I mean, this should be a get-right game for the Steelers. Offense is just one of those things. Are they going to be able to score enough points to keep up with what the Bengals offense is going to do on the other side? So, we'll see.
Alan, what's your thoughts, first thoughts at least, when you look at this matchup?
I'll take that back. DJ Turner is a good player. I don't want to disrespect DJ Turner. He's playing really, really well. Yeah. So, they have one good player on this team.
Yeah, they have one. They had 2. They now have 1. And they have a couple of playable guys. Like I don't think. But it's pretty rough. I don't really see. Like, look, the offense didn't play badly. The offense played well against the Bengals and played well enough against the Packers and the Colts, right? And when you look at this Chargers game, like, yeah, the results are awful, but like the results are also like very random. Like, I don't expect Aaron to be out here just missing wide open guys. I don't expect Calvin Austin, who had 5 drops in his career coming into last week's game, to just clang a wide open pass into an interception. I expect that if somebody hits DK freaking Metcalf hard enough in the secondary to put him on his back, then it's pass interference. There's just a lot of random stuff that happened. That like I look at the process from last week, and I feel like they got guys open. They ran the ball well. I don't think that tackles handled the Chargers, the edge rushers, very well. But there's nobody on Cincinnati that can do that. So, like,
sure.
I don't think they have to reinvent the wheel. I think if they just mostly do what they did last week, they should be able to score 30 points against this team pretty easily.
I would agree with that. They're also, because of what I think that we would all agree with, largely a lack of talent on the offensive side, they can't make up for when really any of those things go wrong, let alone all of them at the exact same time. I mean, you're not going to win many games in general when your quarterback plays like that. But if you also have a muffed punt, if you also have Calvin Austin dropping the ball, if you also have whatever in the world on the not being on the same page with DK early in the game, the Jonnu Smith thing, I mean, this team is not built to make up for those. If they have like a penalty by Andrews Pete on the first play of the game, you almost feel like the drive's over just based off that.
Hold on, Fautanu in the high red zone.
Sure. Yeah. So anytime they have even a 5 or 10 yard penalty. I forgot Boz missing that one. Yeah.
The offense can't overcome that stuff, but I also don't expect all that stuff to happen to it in the same game very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one thing that I would say that has been the root of some of their struggles over the past few games offensively is that defenses are just defending their quick passing game stuff better than they were earlier in the season. So over the first, first 3 games of the season where they got off to that good start, Aaron in particular, the Steelers gained 12.1 EPA or total EPA on quick throws of less than 2.5 seconds. If you extend that out to 4 weeks, it was like 18.5 total EPA, which is like insanely good for quick throws like that you're not typically associating like explosives or anything. Just over the past 3 weeks, the numbers for that: negative 9.6, negative 3.5, negative 8.6, negative 21.7 EPA total for quick throws for Rodgers. So it's like that's kind of a direct correlation where like the Steelers offense isn't scoring very many points over the past couple of weeks, despite getting a ton of like good starting field position and some turnovers, especially in the Colts game. But it's just because like the quick passing game's kind of stalled out. The good news is the Bengals are terrible at defending that stuff. They don't tackle well at all. So, I mean, this is, like I said, it's going to be a mouthwash game for them. They should, there's no excuse not to go out there and like hang 30, 35 points on them. It's just a matter of like, can you get a couple stops? And can you get a turnover?
Yeah, and probably going hand in hand with what you're talking about, DB, I feel like one area where we've seen a ton of regression over the last 3 weeks has been on third down. I don't know what you would largely attribute that to, but only 7 third down conversions in total.
They could play their best player. That would be crazy.
The one who didn't play a single snap on third down?
DB was talking about how the short passing game has been less effective, and I think Arthur Smith kind of accurately at the beginning of the season identified that teams were going to load up to stop the run, and they were going to have to throw to set up the run. And I think that short passing game really effectively did that. Now I think at this point, like, they should just run the ball. Like I think they've established themselves as a balanced enough offense and forced teams to make adjustments to combat their short passing game. Now just line up and run the ball. I don't need him to be in there, whatever. Like, I don't care which down he's in there on. I just need more than 14 carries for Jaylen Warren. I need more than 20 touches for Jaylen Warren every single game. Run the ball. Like, if they run the ball 10 more times, they're so much more effective. And I think it was the right idea at the beginning of the season. From play one, actually, when you get Darnell Washington wide open on a busted coverage, that's how they had to establish things. But I think now they've got to find an adjustment there.
Even in their first matchup, with everything else that went wrong, it still felt like you give Jalen a couple more touches and they still win that game, and we just be complaining about how poorly the defense played, obviously, but talking about it with in a winning effort. DB,
but that's
say something
there. That's just the thing. When I was writing about that for the site yesterday, it's just like at some point as a coaching staff, you got to start thinking about players, not plays. Defenses are paying a ton of attention to Metcalf because it's, they've got one receiver that teams really respect right now. So he's seen a lot of brackets, a lot of in and out stuff. And, they've caught on to some of the tendencies, especially like when they're moving him around the formation, particularly in the slot, the routes that they have him running. So teams have caught up to that. But at the end of the day, like the running back position out of the backfield is really, really difficult to defend because regardless of what you're playing, if you're playing a lot of like cover 2 or quarters, which the Steelers are singing like a decent amount of like 2 high, you can get your running back matched up one-on-one with the middle linebacker. So whoever the Mike is going to be matched up with him one-on-one. And they had some opportunities. Even Gainwell, who has not been efficient as a receiver this year, he shook Deion Henley on an angle route out of the backfield. Aaron just didn't get him the ball. He just panicked and ended up taking a sack. And that was the Khalil Mack thing in the end zone for the safety. But there were guys open last week. The play calling and coaching element of it definitely factors in. They still, for whatever reason, don't like using like motion to spring some of these guys open, especially like seeing how much some of these guys are struggling to create separation. Even DK, when he's matched up one-on-one, hasn't done a great job of that. But, if you're going to throw out Jonnu, Roman Wilson, guys like that, in passing down situations, like you're going to have to do some stuff to get them free releases and to get them a leverage advantage. They're not just going to go out there and win one-on-one on the perimeter against good defense. Now this weekend, everybody's going to be able to win. Just because it's the Bengals. But I'm talking about like when it actually matters.
Yeah.
I did love the DK quote about like, I hope they put Turner on me again. And I was like, well, yeah, like just take their one good cover player away, and everyone else is
Literally
basically
throw it
has
anywhere
like
else.
a Boy Scout on them. Like it's like you do whatever you want everywhere else on the field. That's perfect. Yeah, the Steelers should absolutely want that.
They're all going to be as open as Artie Smith was doing against Mason Rudolph in practice earlier today. Love that clip, by the way, and I'm sure that there will be a ton of use for it for a long time. All right, let's get into some predictions here, unless you guys have anything else to set the table preview-wise. All right, let's do it. We talked a lot about this player. I actually had a really hard time finding a bold prediction because I was like, what is even bold to say about this when last time these two teams met, what they did offensively. So I went with a Jaylen Warren prop here. His longest rush this year is 37 yards. I'm going to say he goes over that in this one. So he has a rush longer than 37 yards in this one.
That's a good one. Mine was Jaylen Warren as well, but this is one that's like wishful thinking. I'm trying to wish this into existence here.
Okay.
Just me back, like getting on the coaching staff this week. His career high receiving yards is 86 yards. I'm going to say he tops that, goes 100 yards receiving for the first time in his career.
Okay.
I don't know what it would have to be considered bold when I'm talking about Pat Freiermuth against the Bengals at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think he owns more shares in them than anyone other than Mike Brown. I will say though, I think it may not. I think they may try to use him as a bit of a decoy, just considering how much he's owned them. But I will say Steelers tight ends over 150 yards and a touchdown.
Okay. I don't. What did they have yardage wise last? Obviously, they scored 4 touchdowns, but I don't know how many yards they had collectively in that first matchup. It was obviously, I mean, Pat had 111, so 111.
It's probably over that because Connors wasn't sure.
139, 141 yards and a touchdown, and 4 touchdowns. Sorry.
So I don't even know if that counts as bold because I'm not even saying they're going to do as well as they did last time.
Yeah, this is why I had a hard time finding it, but I was like, Jalen's, and it actually came in that game. He had a 37-yard rushing attempt in that game, which is his longest of the season right now. So I'm saying he has one even longer this time around. All right, going to the defensive side. Alan, you start this time.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about this prediction specifically. I feel like he's been lurking. I really, really like the way the Steelers safeties have played together since they put Jalen Ramsey back there with Kyle Duggar. And I've got a Jalen Ramsey interception in this game. I just feel it.
Ooh.
Maybe a tip or an overthrow or something like that, just hanging out. He's going to be in double coverage a lot. And I think that gives him the freedom where, like, yeah, you're on Jamar Chase, but also, like, Jamar Chase ran a dig, and so now I'm going to take my eyes and go somewhere else. And I just see that coming in this game.
I like it because there's also, I think, some concern within the fan base that, him being stuck now in that spot just because of everything else that's happened with this defense and the secondary specifically is going to kind of make him less of a playmaker and turn him almost into the last couple years of Minka Fitzpatrick, where he's like obviously a great safety blanket to have on the back end, but how much ball production is he going to have back there? So I think seeing him get a pick would obviously put some minds at ease for that being the case. I really struggled to pick one this way as well, just again because of the success that the Bengals offense had going against the Steelers defense. But I know there is a player, the engine for this offense. Well, not really because of their receivers, but I'm going to say Joe Flacco, who's been dealing with a shoulder injury, doesn't finish this game.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't wish injury upon anybody. I think we're seeing Jake Browning in this one.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
What do you got, baby?
Is Dalton Rosner going to play this week? Do y'all know?
I didn't. I mean, I could.
He was inactive last week.
Like
He
healthy?
was not listed on their injury report.
He was inactive last week with an illness, but I didn't know like if he was
Okay.
practicing or not.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Jalen Rivers is gonna start for them at right guard. Rivers was very clearly like the fish last time these two teams played because you can always tell like who does the best pass rusher lineup over in those situations. They put Herbig on him and on third down, and it was like two really quick wins. I don't know how much they're going to be able to get to the 3 edge rusher sack, but it leads me to say this: Derrick Harmon, flat out, going to have the best game of his career. That's what I'm going to say. He hasn't had a hit. He hasn't had a hit on the quarterback in a month. Actually, I don't think he's had a TFL either. So I'm just expecting a big time Derrick Harmon game in this one, just because I think that Rivers is a player that's really struggled on film this year whenever he's been in there.
I guess for me, the thing is like, how different is it going to look in terms of snap ball out from Joe Flacco to make, and this goes to mine as well. You know, are they going to even like get him to be able to knock him out of this one?
Yeah. I mean, you look at Flacco's numbers when he has to hold the ball versus when he gets it out quick, it's quite a bit different. So, I mean, it's nothing different than what we say. I feel like every week when we preview the games, if the Steelers coverage can hold up for just a couple seconds, the pass rush is probably going to dominate. If they don't, there's probably going to be a lot of yards in through the air. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch it though. I think it's definitely weird seeing like the Steelers in. I feel like multiple shootouts in the same season, but I'm anticipating a shootout in this one. So.
I mean, the NFL I didn't love what happened the first time. Obviously, I can't go back and watch it since we lost, but the NFL loved that game so much. They immediately uploaded the full game to their YouTube channel. Like, so and Thursday Night Football has largely stunk. I mean, it typically does, but especially this year. I mean, that was so far probably the best Thursday night game that we've gotten. So how do we see this one shaken out? Let's get to some predictions here for the score. I will go back to starting for this one. I'll be honest, I've waffled on this a bit more than I would have liked, just because I think largely because of that first matchup. But back at home, 1:00 kick, that atmosphere specifically always seems to do a little bit more of something. I think just one splash play from this defense could be all the difference. It might have been a bold prediction for me to say this on the score side of things. I think the Steelers hold the Bengals under. I think the Steelers hold the Bengals under 30. I'm going 30-26. The Steelers win this one.
Okay. Alan, you want me to go?
Yeah.
I did not waffle on this one at all. Steelers win 41-31. So.
Ooh.
I do feel like I waffled on this a little bit. I'm very confident in the Steelers offense bouncing back. I feel very good about that. I do not know what we are going to get out of the Steelers defense. I do think they can get some turnovers, though, and I think that'll be enough. I think the Steelers will win 33-28.
I don't want it to happen, but they could play the exact same way defensively that they did last time and get one turnover and win this football game.
Yeah.
And that'd be I don't want it to happen because I don't want the defense to play that poorly again. But literally, that's the difference in winning and losing last time.
It wasn't the reason they lost, but just don't give the worst defense in the league two of them.
Yeah.
I just don't think Aaron's going to play like. I mean, he played arguably the worst game of his career last week against the Chargers. I just don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row, and I just think he's just due. After being quiet, I feel like over the past few weeks, like against this type of defense, man, like he's got a really nice stretch coming up. You get the Bengals defense and then you get the Bears defense to kind of not only like I don't want to say like rebuild confidence, like he's lost it, but just get yourself back in a really good rhythm for the home stretch. So that's what I'm anticipating to happen. I think he's going to play really well.
Okay.
And the Bears, I mean, I'll talk about players owning teams.
Yeah.
Oh,
that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the worst of all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, he's going to obliterate that defense too.
So Soldier Field at Aaron Rodgers Stadium, I believe, is the official title for that name, for that place. All right, good stuff. Let us know your guys' predictions as well in the comments, both your bold predictions and your score predictions. I think you guys will be largely pleased with what we had to say about this one, and curious to see if you guys are riding with us or going the other way. Optimists, pessimists, let us know. All right, before we got here, you guys know the drill. DB, tell people to find you.
Yep, at Steelers_DB on Twitter and YouTube. You can find all my work at SteelersNow.com. And I just posted a Asante Samuel Jr. film room if anybody's interested in that. So,
if anybody is, I'm sure that everybody is. And Alan, tell people to find you.
Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH, Steelers Now site account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, sign up for SN Plus, and you get all the best content from me, DB, the rest of the team, and you get it ad-free. We will have our SN Plus subscribers-only live stream on Monday at 6 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. You got to go over to SteelersNow.com, click on the membership tab in the top right, get yourself signed up for that, and we will be ready to go on Monday. Should be a good time. We'll have lots to talk about, I'm sure, after Steelers Bengals. And, of course, anyone can subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channels. We continue to grow this show and the rest of our shows to a bigger and bigger audience. Smitty, where are we at?
Oh, 16,900. And I think everybody is going to think of one player that a lot of people largely probably tried to forget about. 84 is the number that we are on.
Jeremy
I don't know
Tillman.
why I would want to forget about Jeremy Tillman.
Rico Bussey.
Rico Bussey. It's crazy.
Mike
Cordero just wore it. Cordero will be a great answer for this in like a year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody loved
Mike Mularkey was a
Cordero
very
here,
good player. Too good of a player for this game. But he was 84 going way back. I know there was another 84 after him at the tight end position. Was Adrian Cooper 84?
It's taking forever to load for some reason for me right now. Adrian Cooper. I don't see his name here.
All right, maybe not.
What period are you looking for?
It'd have been like mid-90s.
No. Harold Bishop, 98. Kirk Botkin, 96 and 97. Tracy Green, 95.
I have no recollection of Tracy Green. I did remember Harold Bishop and Kirk Botkin.
There you go. All right, good stuff. Like we said, let us know your guys' predictions as well down below. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, we are also there. Just search through his Afternoon Drive. Be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe while you are over there. You'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, for Alan Saunders, Derrick Bell, and myself. Thanks for jumping in and taking another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.